Good evening, everyone. We are now live for our final debate of the day. I would request all the finalists to switch on their cameras. Ishan, could you please? Thank you. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with our final round of debate for today. The proposition is journalistic integrity is compromised when political parties fund news houses. Now, this is a very interesting topic, and I hope that our participants are as excited to debate this as we are to not only moderate but also judge this. So, on the judging panel, we have Jamal Sheikh, and unfortunately, Pyali ma'am couldn't be with us right now. But a quick introduction about Jamal, sir. Jamal Sheikh is currently the editor of India's largest lifestyle magazine, Brush. He is also the national editor, New Media Initiatives at the Hindustan Times. For our finalists, we have Manas and Neha, who will be speaking against the proposition, and Vamsi and Ishan that will be speaking for the proposition. So with this, and with no further ado, let us begin with our debate. Participants, the floor is all yours.
So I'll just begin off by saying, first of all, best of luck to everyone out here. Now, when you look at the journalistic integrity and when you look at political houses today and media houses today, we need to look into perspective. First, one thing is the decline in physical media and the popularity of physical media. Due to this, journalism as such in the physical domain has gotten less and less popular. And as it gets less and less popular, many of these media houses are trying to switch over to digital mechanisms, which are at first very expensive and secondly require a certain amount of technical expertise. Now, when this comes into place, the media houses left two options: either somehow put in all their investment
deciding on what the public needs to know and what it doesn't need to know. Yeah, that's it.
I would like to give a rebuttal on it.
Yes, please go ahead, Neha.
Yeah, so when we speak about journalism, it's about the production and distribution of reports and current events based on facts and evidences, right? So we must take into consideration there's technical journalism, sports journalism, and so on. And it's not just the political journalism. So we need these funds from political parties, not just the one into power, but also the opposition, which kind of funds this. And it actually helps us to spread out these news and facts and evidences based, even if it's a Kisan policy. It's not something which is more of a biased based policy which needs to be put to our people, but these incoming funds are actually used to reach out to the people in the form of journalism. Like we say that the pen is mightier than the sword, journalism can be used as an effective tool, and these funds are actually transferred and they're actually channelized in a way that it reaches out to people in a more effective way. And coming to the part where it's more biased or a political party funds it, all right, so these funds in the form, if I'm giving it to a journalism or if I'm giving it to a news media channel, it could be used to cover a particular campaign that is going on. But we must remember that journalism is actually for the people and not just the parties into power. And also another thing, that these parties are elected by the people for the people. So we're taking forth the news and we're taking forth everything that's good with these funds to the people only. So in a way, when we're seeing this, it's not just channelized in the wrong way. So I think that all of the journalism integrity, which every media person, or right from the cameraman to the reporter to every person associated with it, even if the money is influx is coming from political parties, the integrity is definitely maintained. Thank you.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you. Moving over to Ishan, your comments.
Yeah. So I would like to just state, like, the world is not perfect. Like, and talking about ethics, we have enough examples coming from our own news channels and like Indian news channels. I would not like to name them, but like if I were to see those two news channels, I would surely like start loving Narendra Modi and like rooting for every policy of his. So as we all know, there's supposed to be two sides to a coin, like right, perfectly balanced, like all things should be. Now imagine if this coin became 90% heads and 10% tails, and then it became biased because you had a special coin, and now the special coin started revolving everywhere. So basically, what I'm saying is the coin is the funding. So so if this coin became like popularized and the funding started going to everywhere, it would obviously get in the minds of the media people that, well, they are currently funding me, and supposedly if they gave out an opinion which basically opposed the political party that is funding them, then obviously they would have a certain amount of pressure coming from the political party that well, they might stop my funding. And as you said, amidst the COVID-19, funding is really important. So I really feel that maybe people would not take that risk of going or having an against opinion of the political party, is what I have to say right now.
Okay. So taking these points into consideration, a lot of your debate is based
Thank you for
around
your comments. Yeah.
a lot of your debate is based on what ifs and maybes, wherein you're talking about what if there is a biasness, what if there is certain amount of influence by the political party. We need to take into consideration that different opinions being present within the ecosystem does not necessarily always mean biasness. Just because an opinion apart from what you believe in exists in the society does not imply that that opinion is wrong. When you talk about having different media discourses, when you talk about a particular media channel, maybe propagating news that is, or publishing news that is talking laurels about the current government, there are other news media sources which are going against it. This does not necessarily mean that you are having biased media. It means that every media channel has different ways to approach news stories. And you cannot simply define approach as a way and mechanism to outright say that there is biasness that exists. Secondly, to take into consideration that newspapers and media houses are the greatest way for the government and for political parties to disseminate information into the far reaches of the society. If today the government and if there is enough funding within these particular media houses, you are having more and more people being aware about what sort of rights and approaches are available to them, what new laws are being out there which affect them directly and how they help them out. When we're looking at convincing people, and we're looking at spreading news, and we're looking at informing people about different things, it is important that they receive funding. And simply because you feel that there is a certain amount of biasness present in the society, it does not mean that it is a politically funded bias that exists in the first place. Thank you.
Can I give you a rebuttal for that?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So, like Manas said about having different opinions, of course, not everyone will have the same opinion. But here, the fact that we are talking about is a huge part, or a huge chunk of information that is being completely ripped up from the public. Now, of course, like Neha told, the politicians are for the people and by the people. But what if someone messed up? The person who's funding the news channel, he messed up. If the public know that, he'll be out of his position. So, of course, he would pressurize the news channel. Since he's giving the funding, he would either order them that he would stop the funding, or do something else that would force the news channels to lose their integrity and then change their opinion or the information that has to be given out to the public.
I would like to give a counterpoint for it.
Go ahead, Neha.
Yes, so like you mentioned that they would actually, what if, again, the question, what if came up. So over here, if there's a prejudiced base, then we must remember that we're a population of 1.3 billion people, and each and every single citizen has the right to speech. So if something of this sort is getting covered up by one particular media house because a certain political party is funding them or asking them to keep shut, then there are dozens of other media houses, that particular party's opposition parties as well, which are putting in their funds.
Because you believe there is something different about it. Next thing which you need to take into consideration, adding on to Neha's point, is that it would be unfair and it would hamper journalistic integrity if the funding of media houses was limited, if it was such that only the ruling government can fund media houses or only the ruling parties can fund media houses. There's nothing like that. It is open and free to everybody and anybody who wishes to avail these particular funding sources. If they wish to apply for it, they can apply for it. There is no barriers on the same. Like you say, when you say that you're aware about the fact that Munawar Farooqi case exists, it shows that there has been coverage about it. If there was no coverage about it, you wouldn't know about it. And when you know about it, there is a particular media house or there is a particular media channel that is reaching to you and presenting you with the other side of the story. So similarly, there will be different sides of story that exist and they will be disseminated to people, and that is what the media houses do, simply because there are multiple narratives that exist. And as a person who believes, especially when you talk about Munawar Farooqi and the fact that there needs to be more discourse in place, if you believe that there needs to be more discourse in place, there needs to be information which is being put forward from both sides. And when you have information being put forward from both and multiple sides, you actually allow people to get a proper idea and get a proper understanding of the discourse in place. And that is what is essential for the upliftment of democracy. That is essential for ensuring that people are informed and are in a place where they can take informed decisions in the first place, be it during elections or be it during any other time. Thank you.
Thank you, Manas. Closing statements from Vamsi and Ishan.
Yeah, like Ishan said about the case, he never talked about the news channels bringing justice. He was just talking about the news channels giving the public the information that there's something like this which has happened. Now, we know about this case because the news channels did provide us with the news, but not at the right time. They were late with the news. That is because either due to some other forces or something, it had to be late. Now, what he's saying is that the political party might have a hold on the news channel and might have made the news hold on to some time while he's trying to serve his period in jail.
Can I continue with it?
No, we'd like to take closing statements from Ishan and then
All right, sure.
We'll be running out of time. Yeah.
So basically for closing statements, I think my friend covered it like pretty much over there. But then I would like to say that I feel like if like in this world money rules everything, and like especially in a COVID situation, we cannot ignore the fact that without like we can't live without money and funding, to be honest. So I feel that if political funding is given to news media, somewhere or the other, it is going to be influential. If even if I use the word if, somewhere down the line they're going to need it, and henceforth I feel that they should not be funded. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we come to the end of our fiery debate. Jamal sir, if you have any questions to ask our participants, please do.
No questions from my side. It'll just open a Pandora's box.
No questions? Right. Okay. And thank you, finalists. Yes, Manas?
Can I just make one statement? Many of these views don't necessarily adhere to what I actually think about. It is for the sake of debate that I am presenting them. Just want to put a disclaimer out there.
That's what makes you a stronger participant, and that's always the way to go. Yeah.
Okay. So with this, we come to the end of our finals for Khullam Khulla. Thank you all for being here. We'll just take a quick minute to tally all these scores that we have, and Jamal sir then announce the winner. If anyone has any feedback to give us, now would be the time. Anything that we did right, wrong, could improve on? Yes, Manas, please.
I just think the second topic could have been slightly better. Like, I understand it was a very exciting topic. I get the point about it. I just feel that it goes on to the ethical side of things a bit. And at times, for a person like me, I was kind of like feeling it inside that I'm going against my personal ethics. And I feel that certain ethical dilemmas are best left out of the discourse, especially at this time, because we have a lot of, misinformation going around in society. So I just feel that at times it is, just that. Baki, amazing. It was great fun. I had a lot of fun. Best 1.5 hours in this week.
We're so glad that you think like that. And I completely agree that the finals topic was pretty controversial. And I'm not going to lie, as coming from an organizational point of view, that was the entire objective. To make sure it's as tantalizing as possible, to make sure that everyone's interest is maintained for the 1.5 hour that we're asking you guys to spend with us. So I understand where you're coming from, Manas, and I'm glad that you told us that. So if anyone else has anything else to say, please, you have the floor.
I think I'd like to say that our opponents were really amazing as well, and best of luck to all the fellow contenders. Also, Shazeen, this event is really, really very well organized, and I would like to thank Team TEP as well for it, because amidst this pandemic or whatever it is, sitting in front of our screens in this short duration, Googling in for the topic and all, I think it's been very insightful, and even I got to learn quite a bit from all the other participants as well. So thank you for that, and best of luck to everyone over here.
Awesome. That's so sweet of you, Neha. Thank you so much. I will make sure that the rest of my organizing committee also hears about this. So, Jamal sir, do we have the results ready? And we'd love to have closing comments from you, of course. Of course.
So guys, very impressed with the way you guys, I mean, we're all working in a very unnatural environment for the last year. A lot of you are at an age where, mobile phones and technology comes far easier to you guys than it probably does to us. But, I always say, and I tell my colleagues and Piali as well, that all this technology really existed before the pandemic hit us. And we just didn't use it, right? So there are small blessings that the pandemic has given us as well, and we should be thankful for that. It has been very well organized. I'm happy that I made the time and to participate. Very bright young minds and a very and it's great to hear discourse and debate. We live, guys, in very polarized times. We live in times where people are incorrectly made to believe that things are black and white. Nothing in life ever is. And this exists not just in the field of politics or leadership or ethical dilemmas, but also in smaller everyday issues, right? So it's important. I think what the most important thing a debate makes us do is it helps us look at things from the other point of view. And we must make the attempt always in life to look at it from a point of view that we do not understand or we actually do not agree with, because that will, at the end of the day, broaden our mind and broaden our thinking and broaden our horizons, right? So well done. I do not agree with Manas. I think the second topic was very good because it actually had the ability to polarize. It had the ability to bring out immaturities that we see honestly in mainstream media and on TV channels often, where people look at points of view from a very selfish in a very selfish way, without really evaluating where or understanding where the other person is coming from. So I think the fact that none of you went at each other's throats and actually did what you needed to do through the talking and through the points you made is very commendable. Keep doing that. Neha, I think you were very good with coming up with points and and being brief and making sensible remarks when you knew you had a point to make. Vamsi, I think your way of talking is the way I often tell people to keep in mind when you're public speaking, which is think before you say something. And we can actually, when you're talking, we can actually see you thinking. So well done, and keep that going. Manas, I think you have an enthusiasm in you, which I know probably gets the better of you sometimes, and you probably work hard to control it. But well done. You didn't really jump out of your skin or your screen today, and instead let everyone talk as well. And Ishan, you've got a calm that you may be 16, but you've got a calm that. How old are you?
I'm 20.
You're 20. Okay. You've got a calm that 50-year-olds don't have. So keep that going. And let me tell you this: a calm way of making a point often sends more jitters to an opponent than someone who is far more aggressive with making a point. So well done, all of you. Can I just announce the winners? Are we ready for it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Very, very, very slim margin. But the first runner-up is Ishan. Well done. At 20 years old. Yes. And our winner is our very enthusiastic Manas, making points that he didn't really believe in. And I think that's a bigger victory. Well done, Manas. Congratulations and all the very best.
Thanks a lot, sir. And
yes,
thanks for everything. I recall the competition and for the organizers. Thank you.
Well done, Shazeen. Well organized, and look forward to being with you guys again soon.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you everyone for joining. And this has been an absolute privilege being able to interact with you and have you judge us today. And I'm sure that most of us had a lot to take away from both of our debates. And thank you. And we hope we'll see you again next year, hopefully in person. So yes, I think we're good to close, and this is us signing off. And we're going to stop the live stream right about now. Great. Thank you so much. Now, feel free to drop off unless anyone has something to say.